Welcome into Football Night in New York, Living Room Edition. Our first episode, our living rooms, Ralph Vacchiano, Jeane, Coakley. We may be far apart in distance, but we're never really far apart, are we, guys?
Never.
You're always right here, Jonas.
Football. Yeah, that's right. Neither is New York football, as the GMs, we're all at home, but they're busy working. Dave Gettleman, Joe Douglas have made a lot of moves as free agency, sort of the first and second waves have come and gone. Jeane, which GM do you think had a better run in free agency?
Well, Jonas, I'm going to have to say Joe Douglas. I actually spoke to him at the Combine, and he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He wasn't going to make any big tickets. He wasn't going to spend a lot of money in free agency. He was going to do most of their rebuilding through the draft. But he's done what he said he was going to do. He's going to beef up that O-line. As you know, the Jets have a lot of holes. Offensive line is the biggest one. He got a bunch of guys. He signed Connor McGovern, who I like. He's a center. That was their big ticket purchase if you want to, talk free agency talk. But as far as they got a bunch of backups, they re-signed Alex Lewis, who came on strong towards the end of the year. They got guys who can protect Sam Darnold, get that run game going, and then they still can use that 11th pick on a guard, on a good offensive line, because that's what they have to do.
I actually do like what Joe Douglas has done with his offensive line. He's done a better job with his than Dave Gettleman has done with the Giants' offensive line. But overall, I think Gettleman did a better job of spreading out his cap money and filling more holes. You got maybe the second best corner on the market in James Bradbury. He got two linebackers, Blake Martinez, Kyler Fackrell, who could be the pass rusher that they're looking for. He got a blocking tight end. He got Dion Lewis as a backup running back. He just strategically, the Giants had probably more needs, but he strategically filled all of them, not with great players, but with good enough players. And, that's what the Giants needed to do.
Let me get both of you guys on two issues that were very interesting for these teams. Jay, let me start with you with the Jets. Obviously all your points on Douglas are well taken. He did what he wanted to do. Did lose Robbie Anderson at a price that a lot of people thought he might come back at. How much does the loss of Robbie hurt, even though they did replace him with a pretty good guy?
I think it is going to hurt because him and Sam had that chemistry. They had that bond. But come on, Robbie Anderson went to his college coach, a guy that he has said saved his career. He's the guy who believed him. So I wasn't that surprised they went to the Panthers. And Perriman, he was a former first-round pick. Sure, he struggled the last minute. And I do think Robbie is better than Perriman. But you're talking about a draft that is loaded with wide receivers. So I think Douglas can find that number one guy in this draft.
And there's no question Perriman upside looks tremendous, especially with the way he finished the end of last year. Ralph, talk about the Leonard Williams situation. How is this affecting the Giants going forward? It almost feels like they've been trying to make this deal work since day one, and they're still not exactly there yet.
Right, and they have been trying to make this deal work, and I know that's got fans really frustrated because there's a good argument for saying, just it's time to cut the ties to him and move on, except that the Giants really like him. They didn't trade for him. They gave a third-round pick and a fifth-round pick. They didn't do that just to see, well, maybe he'll work out. They really like him as a player. Their intention is to sign him to a long-term contract. They're not there yet. They probably won't get there, maybe not this entire offseason. And for now, all they could do was give him the franchise tag for $16 million. It's more of a placeholder to them. They see him as part of their long-term future, regardless of how anybody else views him.
It's interesting, guys, and it's very interesting to see how both of these GMs operate in free agency and now how it sets them up for the draft. And we didn't get into the draft, but guess what? We're all going to be in our living rooms next week, and somehow we'll keep our children and spouses out of the living rooms to do this again. Maybe. If we're lucky. And we'll be able to talk about it then. Great stuff, Jeane. Great stuff, Ralph. Thanks so much. I look forward to doing this again next week.
New picture next week.
Beautiful. We need it.